Madonna said she wanted people to remember her name long after the lights went down. They laughed and promised to come see each other's shows if they ever got big enough to fill a theater. There was no competition in that moment, just two people obsessed with the same impossible thing. If you believe real friends push each other to be better, like this, and send it to that friend. A few months later, they ran into each other at a small club in Manhattan. The DJ was playing disco and the floor was packed shoulder to shoulder. Madonna was riding the energy of the room. She was 21 and fearless, and she believed that energy was a kind of power you could hold in your hands. She leaned toward Michael over the music and said, "You think you know how to sing? You sing nothing. I will win you on the stage. My fans are more than yours. Everybody loves me." Michael did not match her volume. He smiled. He was calm. He had been in loud rooms since he was a child. He said, "Then let's give them a show. May the best heart win." That line gave me chills writing it. Comment "best heart wins" if it hit you too. A reporter at the bar heard it. By morning, 3 words were everywhere: a music battle. The New York Post printed it in big black letters across the front page. Battle of the stage, Michael Jackson versus Madonna. Radio DJs said it every 15 minutes between songs. You picking Team Michael or Team Madonna? Call in now. Television anchors talked about it on the 6 o'clock news like it was a boxing match with microphones instead of gloves. So I have to ask, Team Michael or Team Madonna? Comment below and let's see who wins this comment section. This was 1980. News did not travel in seconds. It traveled in headlines and in voices. People gathered around brick walls to read hand-painted billboards that said "One night only, Madison Square Garden. Live." Kids spent their allowance on newspapers just to cut out the photos of both of them. On the subway, strangers argued without knowing each other's names. "She has the energy." "No, heals you when he sings." Vendors outside the arena sold buttons and posters and paper tickets that felt important just to hold. If you wish you lived in 1980 just for one night, share this story and follow for more time machine moments. The night of the show, Madison Square Garden was full. 20,000 people inside and millions more listening on the radio because every station decided to broadcast it live. Madonna arrived first. Black leather jacket, crucifix necklace, New York attitude. Her fans lined the street and screamed her name until the air shook. She walked in like she owned the building because that night she intended to. Then the lights dimmed on the sidewalk outside. A single spotlight hit the pavement and Michael stepped out. Fedora tilted low. One white glove catching the light. Black loafers that would later become famous. He did not wave. He just walked. The crowd reacted before he sang a note because his presence was already a kind of music, which entrance gave you goosebumps just reading it. Comment 1 for Madonna, 2 for Michael. Inside, the host walked onto the stage in a tuxedo that looked too big for the television cameras of the time. He held a card in his hand and looked out at the sea of faces. "Ladies and gentlemen, tonight is not about war. Tonight is about music. 2 artists, 5 rounds. You decide." The first round belonged to Michael. He stepped to the microphone with no dancers and no smoke and no tricks. He sang a song about the world healing. In 1980, that song did not exist yet, but tonight it did because stories can bend time a little. His voice started soft and then grew until it filled every corner of the arena. It was not about power. It was about belief. People in the nosebleed seats leaned forward. Parents held their children's hands. For 3 minutes the building felt quiet even though no one had told it to be. If that image made you pause like this post, the second round belonged to Madonna. She exploded onto the stage like she had been waiting behind the curtain her whole life. She moved every second, jumping, spinning, pointing at faces in the crowd like she knew them personally. She sang with her whole body and made the audience clap on beat. The floor vibrated under 20,000 pairs of shoes. The building felt alive because she told it to be. 2 different kinds of power. One pulled you inward. One pushed you outward. Which kind of power moves you more, Michael's calm or Madonna's fire? Comment below. The third round brought Michael back. He did not add dancers. He added movement that people had not seen on a stage this big before. The moonwalk appeared and it looked impossible. His feet slid backward while his body moved forward and kids in the balcony stood up without realizing it. Parents grabbed their arms. It was not a trick. It was a story told with shoes. The audience gasped and then cheered because their brains needed a second to understand what their eyes had just seen. Be honest, did you just try the moonwalk while reading? Tell me in the comments. The fourth round was Madonna again. She grabbed the microphone stand and talked to the crowd between lines like they were friends she had known for years. "Sing with me," she said, loud, and 20,000 people did. She turned the arena into a choir. She made everyone feel like they were on stage with her instead of watching from seats. She worked every corner of the stage and made eye contact with people who would tell that story for the rest of their lives. Ever been to a concert that gave you that same feeling? Share the artist's name below. The fifth round was the last one. Both of them were sweat and smiles now. They had given everything for 4 rounds and the audience had given everything back. Michael closed with another song about hope and about what people could do for each other if they tried. Simple melody, big message. He was not trying to win with tricks. He was trying to win with truth. When the last note ended, there was 1 second of silence. The kind of silence that only happens when 20,000 people decide something together without speaking. Then the arena broke open, clapping and cheering and stamping feet that sounded like thunder. The host walked back to the center of the stage holding a single trophy, gold and simple. He said the crowd had decided. The radio calls had decided. The letters that would be sent in after the show had decided. Tonight the winner was Michael Jackson, not because Madonna was less, but because his last song convinced people that music could actually heal something broken inside them. Madonna walked over after the lights went down. She looked at the trophy and then at Michael. She said, "You pushed me." He said, "And you will keep pushing me." She took the trophy for 1 second and then put it back in his hands. She said, "See you at the top." That moment right there is why respect matters more than winning. Comment a heart if you felt that. They did not stop competing after that night. Every album became a quiet challenge. Every tour became a new way to move a crowd. Every video became a new idea about what was possible on a stage. But underneath all of that, the respect never left. They remembered the curb in Lowe's Angels and the cold pizza, and the way they had traded secrets before the world decided they were rivals. Follow me if you want more stories about legends who pushed each other to greatness. The next morning, newspapers ran 2 photos side by side. Madonna mid-jump with her arms thrown wide. Michael mid-moonwalk with his hat tipped forward. The caption under both of them said the same thing. 1980. The night music won. People talked about that night for years. Not because one of them won a trophy, but because for 5 rounds in an arena full of strangers, 2 people reminded everyone what happens when talent meets work and work meets heart. The radio stations played their songs back to back for weeks after. Kids practiced the moonwalk in their living rooms and sang into hairbrushes like microphones. Parents told their children about the night they were in the building when it happened. If you were a kid practicing in front of a mirror, comment me right now. Years later, when people asked Madonna about that night, she would smile and say he made her better. When people asked Michael, he would say she made him sharper. They both knew the truth. Rivalry made them better artists. Respect kept them human. The city went back to its noise after the arena emptied. Taxis honked. Subways rattled. Newsprint turned yellow with time. But the feeling of that night stayed in the air like a song you cannot forget even if you try. Share this if you believe the world needs more of that kind of respect today, and follow for the next story.